We're happy to report that Martin Scorsese is back again, and this time he tackles Killers of the Flower Moon, a 3.5-hour epic that tells the story of the injustice and brutal history of the Osage Native American Tribe. With a star-studded cast, excellent performances, and a jarring story, does Killers of the Flower Moon continue Scorsese's stellar reputation, or is it a pass? Let's find out. Killers of the Flower Moon sets the stage in 1920s Oklahoma as it follows the members of the Osage Tribe and those involved with them. The plot is focused on Leonardo Dicaprio's character Ernest and his relationship with Molly Burkhart, played by Lily Gladstone. But this is far from a love story. The crux of it is the manipulation and devastating tactics used by William Hale, played by Robert De Niro, and his fellow men as they essentially go on a murdering spree, slowly eliminating the Osage Tribe for their own gain and for monetary value. The subject matter is extremely dark, and it doesn't take long to figure out why Martin Scorsese was so adamant to cover this movie. Before the movie began, we saw a little teaser or a little video from Scorsese himself chronicling and thanking the audience for watching it, and it's very clear that this is extremely close to home, or it's rather a story that he's been wanting to tell. The injustice is seen clear as day without vilifying those who shouldn't be. The killings and murder in the movie are visceral and so well done, like many of Scorsese's gangster flicks and other movies. They're cleverly done in a way to portray how casually the murders take place. The scenes are usually flashbacks that last no more than a few minutes, where in a lot of other movies it would have taken a lot longer, there would have been a much more of a build-up and stuff like that. At first I was hoping that they would do that and take a more slow approach to these scenes and build tension, but then I realized the entire purpose of it, which was to show how nonchalant and meaningless they deliver death. One shot and you're gone, and the movie does not stop to look back. So let's move over to the casting and the performances. As always, Leonardo Dicaprio and Robert De Niro hold it down. They're masters of the craft, and they always have been. I believe that both of them go in as goated actors. De Niro is despicable but entertaining, and with Ernest, DiCaprio was able to channel a dumber character that verges between carelessness, gullibleness, and ends up being regretful towards the end. He teeters this line between being remorseful but also going along with what's happening. Lily Gladstone plays Molly, a central character in the film and the love interest of Ernest. I had not seen her in many things before this, but she has an absolute breakout role. She's brilliant in this performance and absolutely holds it down against some of the biggest names working in the industry today. There's quite a bit of other well-known actors such as Jesse Plemons, John Lithgow, and Brendan Fraser. I felt like Fraser in particular was a little underutilized, and of course he has a smaller role, but his introduction was a bit odd to the movie, so maybe that's why we're talking about it. It kind of stood out to me, and it was a bit off. But other than that, everybody really does a great job with the subject matter, including the extras, especially in the Osage Tribe as they're talking about the immoral stuff that's happening to their tribe and their culture. It really was interesting to see that and added a big level of authenticity and realism to the story. Now for the runtime. I don't mind longer movies. We had reviewed Beau is Afraid a while back. That was 3 hours. Irishman was also extremely long, another Scorsese movie. If there's a valid reason and I'm entertained throughout, I have no problem with long movies. While this movie did capture my attention for most of it, I felt like there were quite a bit of scenes that could have been cut or at least shortened to make it more digestible. At the end of the day, it is all about the entertainment and the experience, and having a longer movie, when it doesn't have to be that long, it does take away from it. Now, I wouldn't say that this is one of those movies, but you never want to feel like it's dragging, and overall this movie is fresh enough to avoid that, but there were still a few moments that it did feel like it was lingering on things that it didn't need to, and near the 3-hour mark or so, it does begin to drag a little bit, which took some away from it. Another element I really liked was the soundtrack. They don't have much of it throughout, but I wish that they did. I wish they used it a bit more. The clamoring of the drums and other set pieces added a nice vibe to the movie as well, and really added that punch that it needed, along with keeping it authentic to the Native American theme and the 1920s theming. While avoiding spoilers, I'll say that the end of the movie is quite good, and you could see how much it meant to Scorsese to tell the story of death, cruelty, and injustice. It's really dark seeing a person's family be killed one by one without a care in the world, let alone an entire community of people just for the gain of somebody else. The way that these kills take place, they're nonchalant, they happen fast, without remorse, and some of them are really gruesome. Everything's shown, and it just seeing the impact that it has, seeing how sad and how totally devastated the family is, it hits you. I enjoyed many parts of the movie, and technically, it's extremely solid. I'm glad that Scorsese's still out here and cranking out movies with substance. I'll always be a fan of his works, and Killers of the Flower Moon is a lot more than meets the eye, and it's an important movie. I do take off a few points for the length, and there were a few moments I wish they tackled a bit differently. It would have been more impactful, but ultimately, this is a breath of fresh air, and it's ultimately worth seeing on the big screen, if you can or if you're into that. So, for me, Killers of the Flower Moon gets a very solid 8 out of 10. So let us know below what you thought of Killers of the Flower Moon, and be sure to hit that sub button to stay up to date with the latest reviews and lists. Along with that, click the screen now to check out our other videos. Well, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you on the flip.